Katie Griffith with Bright Solutions. We are a technology consulting firm exclusively serving the senior living industry. And today I'm so excited to have a conversation with Liz Hamburg of Candoo Tech to talk about enabling our residents to be inspired to learn and grow with technology. So Liz, if you could introduce yourself.
Hey, Katie, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. I am the founder and CEO of Candoo Tech, based in the New York area, but we are working around the country to help older adults get comfortable using their technology, both through training as well as through support. And we're working with senior living and health plans across the country.
That's fantastic, Liz. I'm so excited to have this conversation, and you're going to help me give this message to the field, because what I see is so much opportunity for communities to really be proactive in enabling their residents to use technology that maybe they already have, or learn something new, and also just explore other things that maybe they're not using today and get really confident and comfortable. And I think that a lot of times we underestimate the desire for our residents to learn new things and use technology. Obviously, we're not going to make anyone use technology, right? But meeting them where they are and really just helping them go in a direction that maybe they didn't realize that they were capable of. And I just think that there's so much opportunity there. I know there's the challenges of like just tech support, right? Just helping them with problems that come up, but we want to be more proactive. So I'd love to hear what you're experiencing in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been really an evolution because when I started Can Do Tech, it was right before the pandemic. And I was really inspired, like so many people in the space, to start the company because of my dad, who literally lived next door to Best Buy. And he was always buying every gadget and computer and laptop and Alexa and everything you can imagine. And he never knew how anything worked. So he was constantly going to Geek Squad. He was, going to the Apple store. And as he got older, and he passed away a few years ago at almost 90, but he had macular degeneration, he was hard of hearing, he had some mobility issues. And so traditional tech support wasn't cutting it for him. So my original hypothesis as a tech entrepreneur was, well, we're going to send someone into people's homes, we're going to sit by their side, and we're going to fix what's not working. We're Geek Squad for seniors. And during the pandemic, that very quickly got turned completely upside down, and we had to really configure everything to do remote support. But also, more importantly, we were getting calls from people saying, listen, I need help just understanding how to use my technology. So it wasn't as much as help me fix what's not working. It was really like, show me, because I'm relying on this. This is literally my lifeline, whether it was getting healthcare or staying engaged, less socially isolated. And so we really, really pivoted. And for the last now almost 6 years, have been focusing on teaching as much as helping to support people. And we've really seen this light. Literally, our name is Can Do. And people say, oh my God, I realize I can do it. And there's
Mhm.
this excitement where there was fright before. But I think that you're right that not everyone for sure feels that they need technology. And so if you ask someone in their 70s or 80s, would you like a new iPad, or would you like a laptop, or would you like to learn how to do this? The answer most of the time is no. I've lived my 80 years without this. Why do I need to start now? But really, what we found is if you can engage someone and ask them questions about what their interests are or their hobbies are, or where their family lives and how they communicate with their family or with old friends, or have you seen your local hometown newspaper? Those are the ways that there's this like brightening of the eyes and this aha moment of, oh my God, I didn't know that technology could do that. Show me more.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And I'm thinking about communities and they start to feel like, okay, well, we're already maxed out. Like this is what do you want me to do all these things around residents and technology? And sometimes it could live in the activities department, sometimes it could live in the IT department where they're having these initiatives to help residents. Sometimes it can be a resident tech committee. It's so great when you have a highly engaged resident tech committee. But I'm always really just encouraging providers, like, don't try to take this on your own. And because that's where it is so time consuming, and it is a whole program that you could be trying to build out internally. And if we are trying to do the tech support internally, it just ends up being burdensome on all different departments, but it also ends up not being what it could be because you have a curriculum that is just so wide that residents can really just say, oh, this is what I'm interested in learning, and this is what I'm interested in learning. And I also love how much you're building their confidence, not just in using technology, but in securing themselves from scams. I mean, that is an always changing, ever changing situation that they always feel, not just them, but me, all of us have to always be staying up to date of like, how do I protect myself? And so giving them that confidence and not just being like afraid, you know, so.
Yeah, no, well, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, on the staffing side, you're absolutely right. Staff at senior living, these guys are my heroes. They are just working and working and working. They never say no. It's all about making sure that the residents are safe and happy. And we've seen firsthand, whether it's a maintenance person or a dining room person or a front desk receptionist, when residents go up and ask them for help with their technology, they'll say, sure, let me take a look or let me try. But that's on top of the 50 million other things that they're doing. And they can try their best, but they're not trained for it. It's probably taking a lot of time. And so that's one thing for sure is we're really trying to help staff just alleviate some of that pressure. But at the same time, you're also really correct that it just seems like a huge mountain to climb to add something else to an engagement person's plate or the IT person's plate. And we're really seeing that you need to make sure that this is not adding to someone's long list of things to do and making it a really, really challenging rollout. And so what we found is oftentimes if you're rolling out like a resident engagement platform or new digital signage or some others or new Wi-Fi, that's a great time to come in alongside and say, hey, we're going to get you set up. We're going to show you how to use the resident engagement platform. We're going to get you connected to the new Wi-Fi. So that really alleviates a lot of the burden on the
Mhm.
team. And then one thing I definitely wanted to go back to what you were saying about scams, because that is a big part of what we're doing, and unfortunately a growing part. We did a recent survey that showed that almost 30% of Candoo's users, we had to help them identify a scam or fix something on their device when they clicked on the wrong thing. And so we do a lot of training, whether that's one-on-one or through group lessons or articles and blogs of how to spot a scam. We have a really fun interactive exercise that I've been caught out on more than once where you put up a picture of an email or a text message and say, is this real or not? And you've got to figure it out. And I've come very, very close to saying, yeah, let's click on that. So our team is pretty amazing at finding really tricky things and then explaining this is how you can avoid it. And then unfortunately, when people do click on the wrong thing, a lot of times we're getting those calls saying, oh my God, what do I do now? How can I clear this and make sure that it's not infecting my computer all around?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I love is, and that I think is important, is the personalization of really getting to know the resident and what kinds of things will be intriguing to them or will just really add value for their life. And so I know you were telling me a story. I'd love to hear, have you share it about the resident that was needing some assistance.
Yeah, so I was actually in person. I went to visit one of our clients, Trinity Woods in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And my first trip to Tulsa, there it was very, very welcoming. And I was having dinner with some of the residents, and there was a lovely woman there with her husband. And she said, oh, he's the techie and he's really advanced, and I'm not much for that. And I got this phone, but I really don't use it very much. And I said, oh, well, I understand it's not for everyone. Tell me, like, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do? And she said, I love to play the piano. She said, I was actually the pianist in my father had a church, and I would play every Sunday, and I would play all the hymns and everything. And I said, oh, that's amazing. What are some of your favorite hymns? And so she named some that I'd never heard of, frankly. And I went onto Spotify and I looked them up, and there they were. And some were old from her childhood, and some were new. And she was like literally almost crying. She's like, oh my God, how'd you get that? Those are my favorite hymns. And then I said, well, are you still playing the piano? And she said, well, I'm getting back into it. And there's a couple of songs that I'd love to learn how to play, but I'm here in this place and it's hard to find the sheet music and blah, blah, blah. And I said, give me the name of something you're trying to play. And she named again some relatively obscure music. And I literally did a search in about 30 seconds. The music came up. I showed her the sheet music and I said, oh, we can download this and print it out.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just astounded because it wasn't about, would you like to learn technology? The answer to that is not really. But would you like to download sheet music that you've been looking for, for months?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, of course. And so we really were able to make that connection and show her how that technology became really like a conduit, the means to the end rather than the end itself.
Absolutely. I think enabling our residents to be able to use this technology in that way is just going to skyrocket our resident engagement. We have so many wonderful programs and things that we do for our residents, and that's great. But also, then from there, they can on their own be really enjoying their hobbies and their life and the things that they're interested in, just with a little bit of guidance and building that confidence and knowing how to find things and where to go and how to do it. And it's just, I think it's just such a missed opportunity that we're seeing. And I'd love, as we wrap up, I'd love if you could flash up on the screen that the age of your residents and that are taking advantage of this, because I think it's really eye-opening for a lot of folks to realize, like, our residents want to use tech, you know?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you
We
know?
do a survey every 6 months to see the impact that we're making. We usually do a baseline when our new community comes on, and then a 6 month survey of our entire community. And so this is based off of everyone, whether it's senior living, healthcare, some direct consumers, and almost 25% were 85 plus and using it pretty
Wow.
actively. So we were really excited to see that and really excited to see the impact that we're continuing to make on their confidence level, on their increased use of technology. And you'll see they're learning new skills or hobbies, they're learning how to communicate. The scam identification is really important, participating in online programs. And then as we are relying more and more on technology for our healthcare, knowing that this continues to eke up. We're not there quite yet, but over the 50% mark now are communicating with their doctors and healthcare professionals. And I actually just was
Wow.
part of a call that we did with someone who had to check in for an online appointment. And he'd said he'd been trying for hours and he just was fumbling around and couldn't figure it out. And we have a little call. We're going to post it pretty soon, I think, with his permission. But in like literally 5 minutes, our tech concierge said, okay, Don, just go click on this and click on that. And we were on a shared screen. So Don was actually doing it himself. And he was like, oh my God, I can't tell you, how much I've been frustrated by this. And finally I did it. And so we're really seeing those aha moments, but also seeing the moments where someone really has to do something to get
Right.
something done and they just don't know who to turn to.
Mhm. Wow, that's incredible. These are just incredible results, and I'm so inspired, and I hope that folks listening are inspired to really just take another look at their residents and the tools that we could offer them to help them just really get comfortable and confident and have a whole nother way to engage with the things and the people that they love to engage with. So I just really appreciate it, Liz. I've known you for a long time and we've done some work together. And I really adore you and your organization and what you're doing for seniors across the country. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Katie. This was really fun, and you guys are doing amazing work as well. So, really appreciate it and love to continue to partner with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.